Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Okay. Hello everyone. I wanted to speak about an important idea. I wanted to speak about this idea while I exist, while I'm a human being, while I'm in the lifetime, while the opportunities of the positions of our solar life are. Dear humanity, I will explain to you the scenario I see. I am in the same situation, but I have a different resolve, and I am here to explain to you, and if you're new, to introduce to you that what is the might of the world we find ourselves in. It is important for us to consider the greatness of reality. By the way, it's Canada Day, so you're going to hear fireworks in the background. First of all, I am Muslim. I am a sci-fi writer. I am a human being who, in some sense, got fascinated and terrified by my existential situation, and I realized that from scratch I must discover reality again. After climbing this mountain of this lifetime so far, I am here to tell you that really what is going on, it is not an empty room where creatures are just in. That we require to consider and acknowledge the visible positions of reality and also the invisible positions of reality. Right now in the world, the invisible is being acknowledged, whether it is time, the concept of time, whether it is law, whether it is the idea of yourself. We can choose to limit our acceptance to our material existence, but everybody is experiencing more than the materiality. There is a subjective domain. I have compartmentalized reality, at least the way I say it. Not I, but it was done before, but I'm just relaying. When I say the incredible power of the original, and how as a human being I am in awe of truth, I find it very fascinating simply because reality has shifted between that which gets me closer to truth and that which gets me further away. I have understood that human beings have crossroads, but fundamentally there is two crossroads for the functioning human being. You see, the paradigm, the situation you're in, think of it as if three levels. Level one, body. The purpose of the body is survival. The body's problem is, in some sense, what is it going to do with death? What is it going to do with eventually reaching a point of non-existence? The problem with the mind, level 2, which is the mind, is different. The mind does not fear death because the mind wakes up every day anew, and it kind of disappears and comes back, and it has no fear of changing and resetting. Right? But what the mind fears is what is correct out of an infinite multiple choice of viewpoints. So what I'm telling you is that the problem level 1, so I'm pretty much saying think of life as a video game. Think of the video game as an existential system. Think of yourself as a member in this system, as a player. There are moderators, and then there is an original admin. So now, as a moderator, not as a moderator, as a member in this game, as a person playing this game, I'm telling you that this player in this video game of life has to acknowledge the context that the video game is a simulation of the original. So the world you find yourself is not the absolute. To treat the world as an absolute is to treat the first level of a video game as the whole video game. So think of it this way. I'm talking about the human experience. I'm talking about human life. I am comparing it to a video game. I am saying that you are a player. Okay? I'm saying that level 1, you have to in some sense find the purpose to your body, which is health and survival. With survival. When it comes to your mind, the purpose is not survival, it is service. The mind is pretty much an opportunity of ability while it is present, right? So you are an ability. Your mind is capable of exerting some sort of force that translates into behaviorology, and if the behaviorology contacts, the public in some sense, it gets a different meaning. So what I'm trying to tell you, dear human being, is that level 2 is the mind realizing that it doesn't know what to do with infinity, and this is actually scary. So the mind is like, what do I do while I'm here? And what path do I choose out of all the paths that are visible, that are accessible to my perception? So most human beings, they live their lifetime up to, let's say, level 2. They in some sense have an movement of existence, and they have an experience of mind. Now, if we ask ourselves what surpasses level 2, you're in some sense looking at where decisions are coming from, and you're looking at the limitations of your free will. If you as a human being so far on this earth have not understood, and guys, let me fix this. Actually, the internet's probably messed up here. So level 3 is the realization that you are working alongside higher power. Level 1 is just the body, okay? Level 2 is your mind. Level 1 is your objective life. Level 2 is your subjective life. Now, in this lifetime, before your life finishes, you might suddenly realize or get a feeling. Hey guys, welcome to the chat section. I'm giving the lecture, but I'll interact if I can interact if there's anything. Anyways, to keep going. Level 1, what sort of objective sequences in existence am I going through? Level 2, what sort of subjective modalities am I going through? So it's in some sense, level 1 is how you choose to be a form. Level 2 is how you choose the world, the form of the world. Level 3 is realizing that everything in this world is, in some sense, this world is like a trick question. You put your attention on others, you do not complete the level. You put your attention on the world, you do not complete the level. You put your attention on yourself, that means self-worship, worshiping others and worshiping the world. These are all distractions. You are being tested to see that when you are conscious in a world, do you realize what is the most important value? Because you're a temporary being, the most important value can't be an object, right? And it can't also be a subject either. The most important value in this world is beyond the world. And this, in some sense, brings us three access points. Either the beginning of the world was beyond the world, either the end of the world is going to be beyond the world, or right now, as we are in the world, where there is the beyond. What I'm trying to convey in this lecture is that pretty much your decisions in level 1 and 2 are all depend on if you've noticed that there is a great intelligence here. I gave this example in the previous lecture that if there was a giant glowing light giant that just landed on Earth, and this glowing light giant, that means if extraterrestrials landed, human beings would be interested to communicating. If super intelligent computers came, human beings would interact with that intelligence. But why, if there was an original author to reality, if there was the original power, if there was a chance that right now you are a simulated being inside a simulation being tested to see if you can remember the original before you forget. Oh mankind, your task is far superior than just physical management, objective and subjective management. You are tasked with, in some sense, contacting and, in some sense, realizing and normalizing your relationship with your divine agent of your world. The divine agent of your world is a singularian, is a singular, is a singularity. What that means is that the original world is, in some sense, a world that is beyond form. Why? Because God was uncaused and caused causality. Therefore, if we are original, we are prior to causality. Therefore, the relationship of soul, in some sense, the mind and body with the soul, is the relationship of an uncaused awareness with all that is caused. You see, dear humanity, every person lives a life through their perception. Beyond your perception, many perspectives, beyond the perspectives, and ultimate reality. I used to say run and build an advanced civilization, just run towards an advanced civilization. But I realized the power of the advanced civilization does not just come from human beings. That means there is a human-made civilization, and let's say there's a world-made civilization, and then there is a divinely orchestrated advanced civilization. To, in some sense, be religious in these modern times means to, in some sense, begin the day through connected to the original server of life. Now, you may ask, Mr. Within, you're talking about God, the one and only truth. Do you mean some sort of overlord situation? And I would say no. The author of reality is way more fascinated by the realization of what it has created, of where it has come from. You see, I want you to think of it this way, that if right now you wrote a fiction story, and a character in your fiction story somehow this character noticed that you wrote it or came close to that conclusion, that would be a mighty step. You see, it changed from being an answer to a problem into more an intelligent interaction with the original energy of reality, with the original power. You know, when I say the incredible power of the original, I am saying that in my efforts as a human being born on this earth to advance civilization, I realize that there is a power prior to even my existence, in some sense, already working on it. So my realization has been that in my effort to do something great in the human experience, I came into the realization that there is divine management and administration. This divine management and administration, at least in my human position as a Muslim, I consider it to, in some sense, be, I consider it in some sense to be God's decree. I consider that there were kings that wore crowns in the world or made of the world, and there is a king that wears the world as a crown. That means it's beyond the world, an original power. So if you were to tell me, hey, you're inside a system, there is an original system admin, and then there's powerful simulated moderators, and then there's simulated members, right? And who would you want to interact in a simulation that has a system admin? I would say immediately take me to the system admin. Take me to where the value, where the most important value of being is accessible. Religion is for those people that have realized the limitations of individualism. They have realized that self worship, worshiping others, worshiping the world, are distractions. Have you ever thought that existence is distracting you from the ultimate? But it's a test, which means man must perform. Your performance is necessary. You know, more than it's interesting to go uncover, pull a spiritual string to realize, oh my God, in my past life I was this, I was that. It's the advanced ability of man. In awe of truth is an implication that greatness, the original power, is accessible. O humanity, do not be afraid. Existence is an incredibly administered event. Your task is to play your role. And human beings are designed, out of all the species, all the types of intelligence on this planet, they are designed with the greatest ability to notice intelligence. You are an advanced receiver of intelligence. You are an advanced information processor. biochemical information processor. As you process the information of this world, you're going to notice the unknown variables and uncontrollable factors, and all that you don't know because you are carrying your perception as a flag. O humanity, you must learn to walk alongside greatness. O human beings, your task is to notice the greatest intelligence accessible in your realm. The greatest intelligence for beings that are in effect is a causal position. But the causal position for us, at least for the level 1, level 2 beings, is formed. Level 3 is for those who have an appreciation for the formless rhythms that move mankind, for these rhythms are the commands of the ultimate aligner. God is here. God is real. Your sincerity is your access point. Anyways, dear listeners, I think I don't know what else I can say. I had a pretty long day at the office today. In awe of truth is pretty much saying, like, if somebody has gone to a bank and they're like waiting too long or they're not being attended properly, they're like, yo man, what am I doing here? Right? And if you get that feeling, what am I doing here? You're going to realize this species hasn't unified to even think about these stages that are further ahead. And therefore, it is up to us who are alive now to immediately acknowledge and establish a link with the one and only system administrator of this existential system, and in some sense, do not be tempted, because the lower self, this is the crossroad of the human being. You have access to imperfect lower self result or perfect higher self result. The perfect higher self result, there is no ego. You renounce your ego as if God is a genius that will take care of everything. In the other path, you're like, no, I don't trust any powers, right? I'm just gonna be me, and then you're limited to you. And I will tell you, it's limiting. This life is bigger than us. What's going on in this world may be more important than us. Oh, humanity, I encourage you to, in some sense, realize the test is in some sense, what sort of intelligent interaction level did you have throughout the day? Did you just acknowledge yourself? Did you just acknowledge the world? Did you just acknowledge others? Or did you have a moment in this lifetime of yours where you raised your hands in the sky and you stared at the sky, and you stared at the whole moment, and you knew that there was a value to this that you could not understand, but the ultimate could? It's a great feeling to feel that we are not alone, that in some sense we people are hoping for aliens, super intelligence, like all these things, right? Ancient artifacts, alien technology, advanced technology. God is the most advanced force that moves all reality, that has even led to all technologies to desire. I am telling you, go directly to the system admin. Do not deal with the moderators. I saluted the moderators, and I am telling you, do not go to any deity, to any form, right? Because anything that has shape, it loops in this reality. Go directly, put your attention on the uncaused, and acknowledge it as if it is a might beyond you, as if you are a peasant in the presence of a royalty beyond fathoming, but it is beyond any archetype. I want you to realize that we're all simulated beings inside a simulation, yet we have an ability to contact the original power of the world, and in some sense live in the simulation through the will, not through the will, but through the overwatch of that administration. Wake up, humanity. The original power has never slept. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds, not just a being in the world or in one world, but the Lord of all worlds. That means all existences that have been coded, they know the coder. The authority of the designer of that, of the existence functioning, it knows where it came from, and so do you. Remember, the original is unmistaken. All praise due to God, the one and only. It's the original power. Immediately acknowledge it when you even wake up in the day. I'm telling you, just try it out. Okay? We'll try one day living as a lower self. Everything's just limited to you and your universe. And one day be like, I have no idea. I don't have any expectations. I'm just going to have faith and be a simple being and watch. Watch to see, is the divine real? Does the divine see me? Do my prayers get answered? And when they do, you'll realize why I talk like this. To acknowledge the presence of an original power is a great victory for the species. Thank you for listening. Bismillah. May God forgive our species and guide our species towards its greatest performance, for it was designed by the greatest. May mankind never forget the original power that moves all that it has come towards. We are in the presence of a very advanced system rather than the ignorance of savage beasts. Your freedom is noticing how alive the world is, not just accepting its emptiness. Thank you.